This is really big news. Finally moving on from our last segment. Was that like 3 hours that we were talking about that? There was a special election in Arizona, a congressional special election. You're seeing there on screen. Adelita Grijalva. And this election just may have given the bipartisan group of House members the votes to force the release of the Epstein files once she's in office. That's how narrow the fight has been. You remember there are some Republicans and then all the Democrats supporting this resolution to force the White House to release the Epstein files. The White House started calling up Republicans saying, if you sign on to this, you're engaging in a hostile act against the president, which is weird. Why that would be hostile, why you would perceive that as hostile. But then we get this news that could push the resolution over the finish line. Arizona Democrats win, clinches bid to force Epstein files vote. Adelita Grijalva's victory in a special election for a House seat in Arizona appears to give backers of a so-called discharge petition enough signatures to compel action. And I can show you when this news broke here on CNN. Then we have more.
Plus, the breaking news tonight, Democrats securing the final push they need to force a vote on the release of the Epstein files, as Democrat Adelita Grijalva wins the special election in Arizona's 7th congressional district.
There it is. So a big part of this. Now, a little, as we that's big news. This is really, really, really bad for Trump's cover-up attempt. And I just talked to, as I've referenced now a couple times, Trump supporters in this big debate I did. And they were so shocked and horrified that I was saying Trump was covering it up. But what do you call calling up Republicans saying, don't force us to release it? That's a hostile act. I feel like even if you have a difference of opinion of what you think would be in there, like, that's just insane, no? Why'd you laugh, Cole? Insane, no? And so that seems pretty obvious, but as this crisis has happened in the White House, the panic we've seen in front of the cameras seems to only have been the beginning. Behind the scenes, there was a lot of mayhem that we're learning more and more about, including Pam Bondi raging at Kash Patel. Daily Beast reports paranoid Pam Bondi raged about Keystone Cash. I don't know all these nicknames. What are these? Daily Beast over Epstein crisis, and argued that Bondi was trying to destroy, or that Kash Patel was trying to destroy Bondi by leaking information about the battle raging within the Trump administration over the Jeffrey Epstein case. So that's kind of the crux of this reporting, that Bondi was really angry at Kash Patel over, I guess she assumed, to try to destroy her. He was leaking stuff about the Epstein case to the news. The only other aspect was Bondi brought this up to Trump and was aggravated about it, and the response was just get a tougher skin. Pam, chill. So that's interesting. I'm confused though, because that was Bondi, right? Bondi, and then you got Kash Patel. But where we haven't heard much from Dan Bongino really since this clip.
I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7.
He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He takes a drip. I hear it. Man, that guy has diarrhea.
And at night, you know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these 4 walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work.
This is my favorite clip ever. We hear each other's faucet. Well, not the faucet. It's not really a sink. I can hear it's toilet. I should probably talk about the toilet. But my wife, we're divorced, but I love her. But we're not divorced. What? Who? How is he the deputy director of the FBI? This is like, I'd be scared at him doing a book report in front of a classroom. The number of like disjointed statements that he made there was wild. And then I've seen maybe a couple media appearances since this one, but since the Epstein stuff broke, Bongino has been missing. while we continue this segment, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free, but it supports the work that we do. It's just below the video, and that would be amazing. And I think it's because, and we've seen some reporting on this, similar to the Patel reporting, which is that Bongino also feels really hostile towards the administration over how they've handled this. But I don't really care until you do. Like, you could leave the FBI and speak out against it. This was one of Bongino's big subjects. He would talk about Epstein a lot. And I would be curious for him to leave the administration and tell us what he thinks of this reporting. Trump complained to aides that people don't understand the Epstein situation because, quote, Palm Beach in the 90s was a different time. For what does that? What do you mean? Trump was reportedly groused that people don't understand that Palm Beach in the 90s was a different time. Trump reportedly called influential allies to seek counsel over the controversy. Why is everyone so fixated on the issue? He wanted to know. What would make it die down? He frequently came down to Atlantic City, the two of them, to attend special events. In my mind, it was his best friend, said the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino president, Jack O'Donnell. And Trump's big gripe was not that this is all happening, not that someone he was so close with did these terrible things, but that people don't understand the culture in the 90s in West Palm Beach or in Palm Beach. Now, okay, let's say we're really trying to understand what he meant. Maybe he means everyone was friends with everyone. So just because I was photographed a lot with Epstein doesn't mean we were as tight as they say we were. But it really does sound like he's saying he's excusing the horrific crimes by going, it was a different time. But maybe he's just saying, if people don't understand Palm Beach, it was like we were all always biting our lips, pointing at women during NBC documentaries, you know, like we were always like, oh yeah, look at that, with a notorious sex trafficker, as would later be found out. Like that was just the 90s. Luke, you weren't even born then. How would you even know? How would you even know, Luke? I guess that's the argument. Tara Palmieri had this to say about the survivors, saying, all right, you know what? If the government's not going to get justice, maybe we will.
And it's painful for these girls. I mean, I speak to them frequently. I'm on text chains with a lot of the survivors. I keep calling them girls, but they're women. They're my age. They're your age. And they tell me, you know, they're fed up, and they're talking about doing opposition research on these members and shaming them and showing their ties to Jeffrey Epstein, because everybody has a tie to Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that. And I've got some reporting coming out to show that, what a deciding vote, the kind of ties that this, you know, senator had to Jeffrey Epstein on deciding not to release these files. And you know who's looking into all of that? It's the survivors. They're sitting around and they are angry, and they are lobbying, and they are calling, and they are trying to figure out how to make the door to justice open, even if they have to break it down.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And hopefully they continue to make progress.